Man, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. You're along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the titanium twister Farrell.
We're like if you bought a radio show off wish.com.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, love starting the show with those inspiring words from the incredible Mr. Evil Knievel. Just flying through the air, living in the sunlight and enjoying life. And we all need to take a little time to at least live in the sunlight and enjoy life.
Absolutely. And if you're going to be flying through the air, enjoying the sunlight, it wouldn't be possible without our first responders and, of course, our brave men and women of the military to make this all happen. Let us do our thing and keep our freedom. So, special shout out from us to all those who put it all on the line so we can just be silly.
Yeah, absolutely. And, extra special shout out to the families of those that gave all, our KIA and MIA, and also our POWs. Thank you so much. And while we're thanking people, how about thanking our great partners, Kicker Performance Audio? You can find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram, at Kicker Audio, on Facebook, Kicker, and live on their TV show, Kicker Unmasked Live, every other Tuesday night, 7:30 Central, on YouTube and Facebook. For all your 12-volt needs, all your automotive, marine, off-road, or personal audio needs, step up to premium audio with Kicker Performance Audio. And how about Bomber Safety Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Badass Eyewear? Man, get yours today. Go over to bombereyewear.com or find them on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. Check it out. Over 40 frame styles. I don't even know how many lens styles. I'm always wearing the white wrap boogie bombs. Every once in a while, pipe bomb or a tiger bomb. But I'm pretty set on these boogie bombs. And I always go for the ANSI 87 OSHA approved safety lens in polarized. And today they are mirrored lime green, which I'm loving. Check them out, bombereyewear.com. Of course, the Premix podcast, our man Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera, and available for your announcer and MC needs in 2025. Slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol, TAGPREMIXPODCAST. Hit him up. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film, handling all of our video audio editing and getting us out there on our YouTube channel, Mad Dog Media. Also, just killing it. If you need someone to handle your video or still photography needs from pre-production to post-production, whether it's a wedding or a TV commercial, find her on Instagram, Kelsey Morrell Film. Of course, all of our logo work and social media template work is compliments of Hey Keeks Marketing. She can do anything from building you a website, building you a social media account, to managing a complete and entire influencer campaign on social media for your products. You need help? Yell, Hey Keeks, or find her online, heykeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Man, oh man, this has been a long time coming. We finally got him, and we got him on the run, folks. Kyle, the underdog Bitterman. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. Glad to be on the show.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, man. For when the video comes out on this, you guys will wonder what the heck's going on. But talk about a guy dedicated to helping a buddy out. He is on call to an emergency electrical or what is it, optical?
It's a fiber optic. It's telephone internet cable.
Yeah, so he's on
So,
call
but
to an emergency and still picked this up in the truck. Um, so we're going to get this in. And man, I'm just really excited to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
yeah, thanks for having me. I agreed to do this, and I'm not going to let you guys down. You guys have been longtime supporters of the underdog and always had my back. So glad to be on here and glad to help promote you guys, help promote myself, and yeah, on the way to make a little money at the same time.
Hey, that's a double bonus right there, buddy. So, you know, um, anybody who has watched Arenacross for the last 7 years, I guess, knows who the underdog is. Has it been 7 years or six?
And I think I've been racing arena cross since 2015. So
Yeah,
8, 9 years.
9 years. Wow.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of changes. You've been racing it longer than I have been doing them. So, um, but that Supercross, you've been slaying it in some other arena cross series and some local stuff too, right?
Yeah, we've done. Like we did the big Cody Gregg Two Stroke Memorial Race at Muddy Creek. We do the Verb Classic at 101, the Can-Am up in Area 51 in New York. We had Josh Hill. He had a pretty big event at the CGI facility. We did that. Man, we've been all over. Probably the most that I've raced in a long time. And, pumped to be, at the age I'm at, 31, and still going strong as ever. And it was kind of a last minute deal, and we were able to kind of put some things together to make it out to the first round in Reno for the Arenacross series. And man, like when I seen you there on Friday, you're like, man, I didn't even know if you guys were coming. I was like, dude, we had no idea we were coming really up until a short period of time before this. So staying at it, staying busy, but glad to keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And just touching on that Reno doubleheader, and we'll get into it a little bit more here in a little bit. But man, you look sporty, dude. You may be 31, but you handed it down to some of those young kids. First night, what, 4 pole shots in 4 races or something like that?
Yeah, out of the 2 nights, I pulled both main starts night one, and then I pulled the Clash start Saturday, and then the main one start Saturday as well. So I got 4 starts there. That was probably more than I pulled all last year.
Yeah, that's pretty strong. You looked good, dude. And the Clash, I want to get into that, but first, I want to get into, because any of your fans that are going to listen, um, they know your story. I only know part of your story because we always have so little time to just kick back and BS. Um, where did this whole thing start? Like, where did the passion come from? What lit the fuse? What pulled the pin? I know your dad. Shout out, Paul. Um, I know he's an avid hot rodder and two-wheel fan.
Oh yeah,
Um, so where did this all start?
man. I guess it started before I was even born. Honestly, my family, going back to my grandpa, raced stock cars. My dad raced stock cars. He did the Bush North Series, some dirt car stuff. My uncle, in a wheelchair, raced dirt cars. My other uncles raced go karts, and I think it all kind of trickled down to me. And when I came around, growing up in Western New York, my whole family kind of had it out that I was going to be, a car racer, because everybody else was either stock car or go kart. And growing up in Western New York, and I was actually getting ready to go to my first go kart event, and I believe the rule change where you had to be a certain age before you could race a go kart, and I wasn't old enough yet, and I went to school. I believe I was in kindergarten or first grade. I can't quite remember, but I went to school and some kid was like, "Hey, I race a dirt bike, a PW50." I was like, "What the heck is that? I want those." And after that, every time we went past the Yamaha shop, I never let my dad drive by unless he pulled in and we could go check out the bikes. And yeah, I never got the new shiny one that was on the showroom floor, but I ended up getting a nice used one. And man, I feel like it's been kicked off ever since. And started racing. Um, you know, honestly, man, we started racing flat track first on a PW50. We would race flat track and then go race Saturday and Sunday at a local motocross race. And then when I became of age to race the go kart too, I was racing Friday night flat track on a PW50, and then racing a flat cart go kart on the same night, and then racing the chain class on a Cobra. And then I did that for a few years until I got on to 65, and I was racing all three classes flat track, and then kind of fizzled out of the PW class. And then, then I kind of, on the 65, I had a kind of a bad, kind of scary crash at Paradise Speedway. I was going pretty fast. I hit a spark plug wrench that one of the go-karters dropped off their cart. And, we weren't fully like slaying it sideways on the 65, but, we were still rolling in there pretty good.
Yeah.
And just the way I hit it ended up kind of high side of me crashing. That kind of whole thing kind of scared me a little bit. And my dad was like, "Hey, we can't be going flat tracking, Friday, and going motocross this day and going back and forth. We're sleeping in the truck, and they're swapping out tires in between the night just to go to two different events." And he was like, "You kind of got to pick and choose what you're doing here." And man, once I started racing, night supercross stuff as a little kid, outdoor, local races, I kind of knew right away that I wanted to pursue the motocross thing, and really haven't looked back ever since. Man, we've just been kind of grinding away, even at a young age, all the way through. My parents didn't know too much about the Rattleins or anything like that until I was probably late 85 into schoolboy class, and just been kind of head to the grindstone and riding, training. And I moved to South Carolina in the end of 2007. I think I was 13 going on 14. So we kind of made that move to South Carolina from Western New York, and we moved down south to kind of take the racing a little more serious. And I think that kind of paid off, because ever since I moved south and kind of was able to focus on racing more and riding year round and kind of take that next step, I think it paid off. I definitely didn't reach to the goals that I wanted to. When you're a younger kid, everybody wants to be Ricky Carmichael, Eli Tomac, but
Right.
I never made it to that level, but I still got pretty far high up in the rankings for where I came from and what we had to work with. Definitely proud of it, but here we are still, like I said, 31 years old, and we're still trying to reach those dreams.
Yeah. Well, and you just man, that is one thing about you. It's always nose to the grindstone work, whether it's working your normal real job or hitting the gym or riding on weekends, training, and at races, man. You're always working. It's it's a real good example of what it takes to get to where you're at in the sport.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And then you could, kind of throw in having a wife and a kid and all that. And you never stop moving, but you got to look at why you're doing it. I still love this. That's why I stay riding, why I stay with it, keep working at it. And yeah, man, I don't think I would have it any other way. Even weekends when I'm not riding or racing, we kind of sit around even as a family and we're like, what are we doing this weekend? We don't know what to do with ourselves. If we're not at the track or working on bikes or prepping to get the camper ready, we're kind of not sure what to do with ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and you started your own bike prep business also, because because you had too much free time, I guess, huh?
Yeah, yeah, too much free time, right?
That's what I said about this podcast. Since I didn't have enough to do, I figured I'd start a podcast, you know. Um,
That's it.
but dude, that's wild, and it's so crazy how many two-wheeled athletes we've had on here, and people in the sport that have all started like on the P Dub, and it's whether it's new or old, or that's where Cole started. And a lot of just so many people. It's always great to hear. I could hardly walk and I was riding a bike, and
Right.
I think that's the case with your little turbo guy, isn't it? Isn't he already riding?
Man, he's riding a Strider. We got a Stasic. He's a little gun shy from a Stasic right now. I feel like ever since we pulled it out of the box and he yanked the throttle on that thing and about backflipped on him, he's been kind of questionable about the Stasic. But he's got a PW with training wheels and he's got about any toy you could possibly think of it for his age, man. And yeah, I'm definitely not pushing on him, but I think he's kind of surrounded by it. So there's probably going to be no question that he's going to ride, but definitely not going to push the racing on him. I know how dangerous this stuff can be and is, and if that's something he truly wants to do, then I'm definitely going to be there to support him, but definitely not going to push it on him. I know. I guess definitely would be super happy to see him out there being a little ripper, but if he wants to pick up a guitar or something else, I'll be right there supporting him, whatever he
Yeah,
chooses.
dude, that's rad. And he's always going to have the ability to ride. Like when you teach him that, um, you know, they never lose that. And I have daughters. I have four daughters, and they all rode when they were 5 and 6, and they don't ride very often anymore. But given the opportunity, they do and they will. So it's like. They all know how, and so that's to me that's an important part of it for sure.
Well, you can learn a lot of life lessons, and I mean, not taking a physics class, but you can learn a whole lot of physics right there, just with gravity, bones, everything.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And that you know um man, I think when I first met you, were you riding a Kawasaki?
Yeah, I believe it was in 2020. It was when I was on the Babbitt's Kawasaki team.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Doing that was the first year that I did the Kicker Arenacross series.
Yeah. Okay. That would have been the year that I met you. And yeah, so you have been on the Kawasaki, went to what'd you go to? Did you go to a
But
Honda and then to a gas
no,
gas?
my my bike of choice always from honestly Super Mini 85 Super Mini's always been kind of been a Honda. My personal bikes have always usually been Hondas, but we kind of drifted away. You get support from a different manufacturer, or you kind of think that this is the next best thing, but uh, always kind of drifted around on the Honda. But no, we raced 2020 on the Babbitt's Cowie team, and then
Yep.
2021 we switched over to the Gas brand, which was KTM Gas brand, and then we
Right.
raced, and then I believe 22 we were also on the Gas, and then for 23 and 24 and this year we've been on the Honda.
Yeah, I remember it seemed like you really like the gas was a real challenge in talking to you and talking to Ashley, who was your bike chief at the time. Um, who serious shout out and hugs and prayers for Ashley while he's recovering from his leg mess up riding
Yeah,
a dirt bike. But
yeah, we definitely, yeah. Hopefully he recovers soon. I know he's got a long road ahead of him, but we definitely had our struggles there with the steel frame thing. And honestly, that bike was good outdoors, and we didn't race like any outdoor nationals on it or nothing. But once you put it indoors on stiffer suspension and you put that chassis under a lot of load and bind and hit whoops and stuff, it just kind of seemed like we struggled with it a little more than we'd like to. And that's kind of why that we made the decision to bump back on the Honda. We kind of went the gas cast route, hoping to maybe get some support from the factories or
sure.
a dealership or something, but it never seemed like nobody wanted to really pop out and help. But so we kind of just drifted, like I said, drifted back to the Honda and stuck with what we knew and what we liked, and kind of dialed those things back in.
And now you've managed to you've had is it your local Honda dealer that's been helping you out a little bit?
So last year we had Storm Lake Honda that
Right.
was helping us out, but this year we are not sponsored by any Honda dealership really. I just got my bike from two different Honda shops and bought them out, and yeah, just kind of making it work.
Yeah, it's man, it's tough, the independent riders, it's tough when you don't have a big company or a huge team behind you for that buying power or for that bargaining power. It's got to be, I've been there on the motorsport side, and I know a long it's a long road to hoe, so to speak.
Oh yeah, no, it's any support that you can get with racing. It all adds up at the end, but we you kind of got to take what you can and kind of make it happen. And luckily, I already had some bikes from the year before, and I kind of sold a couple off to buy one, and then kind of finance another one, and kind of betting on myself and see if I can make it work. But luckily this year I'm riding the 450. I kind of wish I would have maybe switched over to the 450 probably the last year or even the year before. But we made the switch back because other than Arenacross, honestly, I ride a 450 all summer long. I'm pretty much just a 450 guy, and then just for Arenacross, we would always ride a 250. For the longest time, you were only allowed to ride a 250 in Arenacross, so we kind of only
Right.
would drift. And then when you went racing in Arenacross, you could race, the 250 and the 450 class. But once they did away with 250 and 450, and they made it open, I kind of wish I would have just stuck with it and dialed in the 450 for the tighter racing. But we kind of live and learn, and you can kind of tell as everybody this year is pretty much all the top guys are all on 450s.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the only, or maybe the only, uh, AMA Pro class that allows a 250 and 450 is the Arena Cross by Kicker series, which is an AMA series. Um, but you don't see that, in a lot of other places where you can, like, it's almost like a 250, 450 open, you know?
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I think they kind of just made it so that you pretty much run what you run. You can race a two-stroke, 250, 250F, 350, 450. You kind of there's no real advantage with the bigger bike and the 450. It's heavier, it wears you out more, but that little bit of torque in places just gives you like that little percentage more here or there, and you kind of can have to make sure you're in shape and kind of strong enough to make it work through the rest of the track. A lot of times you're fighting the 450 to get it to turn, but that little tail end of those whoops when you're in elevation, 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, when your bike don't feel like a 450, that little extra torque definitely helps pull you out of the hole.
Yeah, and for reference, folks, this Arenacross the 24-25 season started as in Reno with a doubleheader, which is in essence like almost it's 5,000 feet. Um, and then we're going to Boise, which is altitude also. I don't think it's quite 5,000, but it's altitude.
Yeah, I think it's around 3,000 there.
Yeah, and then Loveland, Colorado, first weekend of the year, which again is 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
So it's like, Arctic climates and high altitude aren't little bikes, little motors friends.
No, and it all has to do with what do they call it, the barometric pressure with the air and the fuel and all that stuff. You kind of, the bike's struggling to get enough air to produce the power, and when you're in elevation and that 450, man, honestly, like back home, I ride my 450 practice. It's bone stock 450 stock pipe, and I put 93 pump fuel in it. And I came out to Reno, and I was like, never really rode a 450 in elevation. And I got there, and I went out and practiced, and I was like, whoa, like I'm definitely under power right now. Like I'm not really sure what to do. Back home, I would ride with traction control. I automatically I took that right off, and I put it in the aggressive map, and it still was just kind of luggish on the bottom. And I was like, man, am I in third gear or second gear? This thing doesn't feel like it wants to pull. So we went back after the first practice, dumped out the pump 93 we had, and threw in some race fuel in there, and that definitely seemed to liven the bike up a little bit, just enough to give us a few more ponies. And I think once the ECU started reading the air and making its own adjustments, it started to run a little better. But at first, man, I was like, oh boy, we might be in trouble.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize now is with all these new bikes, you have full fuel injection, you have generally adaptive strategy engine control units or computers, as most people call them, and you guys have multiple maps, which is programs, computer programs, folks.
Right. Right.
To adjust your timing and fuel strategy uh, depending on conditions. Now, you don't run a bar switch though. You can't do yours on the fly, do you?
Well, right now we're running a stock ECU with 3 different map options on the bar. And then you also have 3 different traction control options to use. So we have some options on the map switch, but we don't have like the get system on the bike where you have 2 different race maps in there. So, but you can make switches on the fly. They're not as big of changes as you would think, though.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it's crazy, when even like for you growing up in it, I mean, you started on carburetors and 2-strokes, right? And worked your way up through those, but
Yep.
like most guys your age don't even know how to work on a carburetor or don't know what a carburetor is anymore.
Yeah, all that technology is in the past. And thankfully, I still have a KTM 2-stroke that's got a carburetor on, and I'm always, every time I ride that thing, I was even telling my dad earlier this year, and I was like, man, this is honestly more work than it is fun. I was like, when you ride at this place, you're changing jets, you're changing needles, you're mixing the gas a little different. You didn't quite get the mixture right. And I was like, this, we got spoiled on these fuel injected bikes. I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah. We used to, I crew chiefed go-kart team in Region 5 for up in the Pacific Northwest, Northern Cal, and all that for a couple years. And man, we ran the 100cc I think it was production 100cc class in a
Yeah.
light and a heavy. And yeah, I feel you, man. The two-stroke 100cc, and you're just like, I mean, it, you're always,
Yeah.
we were
Temperature
all,
changes like 10 degrees. Instead of if the temperature changes like 10 degrees, you're chasing your tail on the bike.
yeah, absolutely. It's so I feel that, and you know the fuel injection has made it nice for sure, but there's still, you know, there's still so many adjustments in the fuel injection. And if you go to, I know a lot of you guys run like you said, a pre-mapped ECU, whether it be aftermarket or stock. Um, but I have seen guys with, especially over in American Flat Track in the singles class, um, literally like plugging their laptop into the ECU and changing field strategy, timing, stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
you know, between qualifying sessions or something like that. So the technology that's out there now is just, it blows me away. You know, I'm an old school carburetor guy, right? So
Yeah. It's the whole day is of taking the plug out, reading the plug, and reading the air. You're kind of, that's all gone. Oh, it's all computer. Your computer's measuring the air and everything. It's all kind of advanced, more fine tuned, and I feel like it's better once you get it dialed in. But it's kind of almost not as fun as when you're old school. You're kind of making guesses and chances as you go.
right, and finding ways to make that extra half a horsepower or whatever. Yeah, for sure. I feel that.
Yeah.
The so you answered a question I was going to ask. Um, I was going to talk to you about the 250 to 450 and what your thoughts were, but man, you went over that. That was really detailed and really informative. Uh, because when I started with Arenacross, with the Kicker Arenacross series, I guess seven mid season, I think 7 seasons ago, um, nobody ran a 450.
Right. It's all 250.
Yeah, 250 was the way to go, and nobody, and I don't know, what do you, I mean, obviously in the last, let's say 5 or 6 years, 450s have got a little lighter. Um, the technology's gotten better on engines and engine controls. What do you is what's your take on why the 450 is the way to go now over the 250 on Arena Cross? Because we're talking, I mean, it's a lot of bike for a little short track.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to if one person rides it, you almost all have to go that route. It's you're giving up a lot of torque and on the start. If you have anything longer than well, I would say 80 to 100 foot start, that 450 definitely comes into play. And with the series being out west and a lot of the rounds in elevation, man, that 450 definitely has so much more torque than the 250. But then, you kind of have to be the right size to ride a 450 too. I mean, if you're too small or not experienced enough, I mean, the 450 is not going to be easy because it's going to be harder to ride. It's going to be harder to turn. It's going to be more of a handful of the whoops. But you got to be strong enough and mentally strong enough to be able to take on that challenge.
Yeah, and we talked about that. We had KP on 2 or 3 episodes, 4 episodes ago, and we talked about that also. Um, where like it was just because he's not as big as you know,
Right.
and it's definitely, he's lighter, he's smaller framed, a little shorter, and so it's I think been a big adjustment for him, maybe even more so because he hadn't ridden it as much. But I think it's a great move for you because that's what you always ride, right? And
Right.
that, I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
I feel like it fits, for my stature, fits my riding style. You hear that a lot from pros, but I mean, for the past 10 years, I pretty much ride nothing but a 450 all year long, except for Arenacross season. And with this being the change, I feel like it was just the right move. And that's kind of why at the last round last year, I raced Las Vegas on the 450. I'm like, well, I already know what I'm doing next year, so I might as well go ahead and start this now.
That's good. Smart move. You man, um, go talking about last year. You had a tough year. You had a really tough year, and we're always cheering for you. You're on our top list of the great guys uh, that we cheer for wholeheartedly. Um, but man, you had some struggles last year, and I'm going to get to
Absolutely.
the sound clip of the year, but because dude, well, let's just jump right to that because uh, anybody who listened to my Vegas recap um, knows Kyle won the sound clip of the year. He finished fourth overall in points last year. Um, when a lot of you top five guys just had all kinds of problems. Um, but the
Yeah.
soundbite of the year was your podium interview after taking a rhythm section to the face at speed and getting up and still finishing thirds, finishing on the podium
And not remembering.
and not remembering. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think you even knew why they were interviewing you, to tell you the truth. But um, that being said, where was that? Was that Daytona?
That was Nebraska. That was that
Nebraska.
cold round. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was so cold there. Um,
Freeze.
yeah. And so how much, like, obviously you had a significant concussion. Um, how much did that affect you throughout the remainder of the season? Because a lot of people
Like,
don't realize, oh, you whack your head, you busted up your nose, you cut your face up, and
yeah.
you were back on the bike in a couple of weeks.
Well, actually, it was like about 3 or 4 days later after that. But we can back it up a little bit, like you were saying that I had a pretty rough year last year, and that is 100% true. Last year I probably had one of the best off seasons I've ever had. Like prep work coming into it, ride a lot, working on the bike a lot. I kind of worked out a deal where I wasn't going to be, a full time worker and racer. I was just going to be 100% racer. So I was coming into the season like, ready to go after a championship, go after race wins, and we had some things at the first round. I ended up getting food poisoning at the first round.
Oh
I
yeah.
got food poisoning. I don't even know how I raced day two. I threw up all night long and had zero energy. Somehow ended up still getting a third or fourth on night two. But then we went to Madison. I think I battled for the lead and got second. And then, yeah, I think Nebraska or Nebraska wasn't too far along after that. But
Yeah, no, I
uh,
think it was Loveland and then Nebraska.
yeah, yep, it was Loveland and Nebraska. Nebraska, I tied for the overall win at Loveland, And then we go to Nebraska, and yeah, I was running second, and Peters came on the inside of me, and I honestly kind of thought he was going to run it in a little harder than what he did. He's a very respectful racer, definitely towards me. We've got a lot of mutual respect on the track. But kind of being that we had like 2 turns ago, I thought he was going to run in there. So I kind of leaned in, preparing for it, but he never got close enough, and it kind of let me kind of fall down as we were going off the face of the jump. And man, I just ended up coming off the bike and smacking my head, and ended up getting a concussion. And yeah, after that, I finished the race somehow. Like I said, I don't remember finishing it. I come off the track and I was all, bleeding out of my nose, and
Oh yeah.
Ashley's trying to wipe my face off, and Jason's talking to me, and I was all confused. And next thing you know, I was standing outside the door of the arena, and because Jason kind of told me to get some fresh air, and then it was like I snapped out of it, and I was like, "What just happened?" And he's like, "What do you mean, buddy?" And I was sitting there, I'm like, "Dude, where am I?" And he was like, "Oh no, yikes, man!" And I'm like, "Do I got to race? I'm in gear. Do I got to go?" And he's like, "Dude, you are not racing right now. You are no way are you going racing." And yeah, then so that kind of was a bummer that happened, but not long after that, I think I raced. See, the very next weekend was Guthrie, and I definitely had a concussion. But what are you gonna do? You're in the championship fight.
Right.
You get paid to race. You get paid for your positions, and I kind of had no choice but to kind of figure it out and kind of go and see what happens. And man, I crushed my nose after the series. I ended up getting surgery on my nose. But
Man.
I could not breathe at all. I remember being in Guthrie and qualifying, and literally I could do like a lap and a half, and I was smoked because I couldn't breathe in through my nose. So I was like trying to relearn how to just breathe in and out through my mouth, and I was like getting arm pumping like 2 laps of my hot laps, and I was like, this is not good. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And man, I struggled with that the rest of the year, trying to be able to breathe. And then we go to Daytona, we get the worst dirt of the series. And then I didn't make the main event because I got second in the semi, and then go to the LCQ, and it's me and Peters in the LCQ, and I crash on the start of the LCQ. Don't make a main event Daytona, and I was not happy. Like, after all the years gone through, all the hard work that I put in, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is not how it's supposed to go. Fast forward one more day, I raced Supercross. I put all that behind me. I qualified the best I've ever qualified Supercross. I qualified 13th. And then heat race, go into the first turn. Somebody kind of connects with me. We hit the ground, and there I go. I broke my thumb. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Yeah.
So I had to race the whole next Daytona rounds with a broken thumb. Couldn't feel my bars. I had it all taped up. And I had a few weeks there between Vegas, but not many weeks, and pretty much had to go suffer through and get through Vegas to make it work.
Yeah, and
yeah, that was the season. We almost got third, but we ended up fourth. But with all that going on, I feel like we still kind of put in the work and suffered through it. We still made it fourth, and still proud of what I did to push through and all the adversity we had to overcome. I definitely am very proud of it, even though I wanted more. But you can't win them all. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and honestly, going into Vegas, and we talked about this before Vegas on the podcast, was, first and second for the championship were like so close, and then third through fifth or sixth were all like, you don't know, depending on how their weekend is going to depend on where they finish, right? And
Right.
it was actually, it was really exciting. Um, and I think you and Isaiah only ended up like 3 3 or 4 points apart or something. It was really close.
Yeah, we were just a couple points apart, and I
Yeah.
think we went into the final round of, I think, 1 point apart. So it was close, and he's a great rider, a good kid, and yeah, he ended up taking the third spot, and I was fourth. But like I said, I was glad to be able to finish it somewhat healthy, even though we kind of had a hell of a year. We were able to at least walk out of that place and kind of just start looking on to what's next and keep moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because when we had KP on, we talked about the event where you took the header, and he said exactly this, almost exactly the same thing. Um, he was like, I didn't want to, I cut it a little bit short because I didn't want to run in too deep on him, and
Right.
I think he was expecting me to be there. Same thing you said, and it's I think that's super cool. You guys have so much respect for each other, because you guys have raced hard a lot, but it's rare that you guys have had um, serious collisions or conflicts.
Yeah. No, I think that comes with, I think it's a little bit of our age, and we're going there for a job, and we both want to get the same job done. But also, it's the respect thing. We
Yeah,
both have the same goal, but we also respect the work that each other has put in to get to that position. And you just hate for somebody just to do you dirty over for no reason, really, just because they wanted to take the easy way out and take you out. Which I get it, things happen sometimes, and you kind of have to do what you got to do at times. But if you can race clean, I never see Eli Tomac or Ken Roxon come in and just destroy somebody for no reason. They're always planning ahead, looking at the big picture. That guy, if you do it to that guy, he can just as well come back and end your night just as well. So there's no
for
reason to
sure.
race like that.
Yeah, and there were some moves made last year by some other riders that were pretty questionable in my opinion. Um, but some of those guys are back this year, and they may have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
I mean, hey, you're in South Carolina now, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's that whole NASCAR way, right? You
Oh yeah.
race me how you want to be raced, and if you
That's
if you
it.
race me dirty and rough, you better hope you got a good body man in the shop.
That's right. Yeah, I think that comes with like a race experience and stuff. Sometimes you have to worry about the young kids coming in because they're so amped up, ready to go, and they want to prove to themselves and everybody else that they're something to be reckoned with. But also, we're like, hey, man, it's just time qualifying, or it's just a heat race. Like, this ain't even where the money's at. Like, let's get to the main show, and then we can race. But sometimes, they get too amped up or hyped up, and they make kind of a bonehead move, and you're just like, oh man, why'd you do that? But it's
Yeah.
kind of, you got to pay your dues, and you live and learn, right?
Well, I saw some of that in Reno, and just in like practice and qualifying, there were some uh, less experienced riders, let's say, that were there in first practice, and it's like they were in the main.
Right.
And I'm
Like,
like,
how are you going to get a fast time if you're out there racing with somebody?
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
why if you sit back and watch the A group, nobody's trying to get anybody's way, and we all kind of will come up to the finish line and make sure we're spaced out enough so we can get our fast lap in and have enough time to, if somebody messes up, you got time to get around them, or you're not trying to eat their roost while you're trying to do your fast time.
yeah, I watch you guys do that all the time, and it's it's pretty cool to watch because it's also with the addition of the big screen, you can now see where you're at.
Right.
So um, I'll watch you put in a heater and then see how it stacks out. And it's like, well, shit, I got to put my head
Yeah.
down and try and put in another one, and pick your
Yeah.
gap. And,
Yeah.
but speaking of putting in heaters, um, in I think it was Daytona 1, uh, dude, you went out and you're like second lap in qualifying. You absolutely blitzed everyone.
Yeah.
And on the third lap, the motor chucked a rod.
Yeah. Send it through the case.
Yeah. But that being said, man, that was really cool. That was like a Bitterman foot stomp right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow. Like, it was significant. I don't think anybody else hit that time the rest of the night.
Yeah. No, that was cool. I'm able to pull it off every once in a while like that.
Well, you hit some heaters in Reno,
Yeah.
for sure. And it was a great job in Reno. It's always fun watching you race. Um, you almost always have a good attitude.
Almost.
Almost. I can get away with that. I know you well enough.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, and any of us that are racers, or in my case, ex-racers or whatever, know, uh, when the helmet goes on, things like the view
Right.
changes a little bit, right?
Right. That's right. You got a lot of passion for what we do, and
Yep.
when things kind of out of your control, sometimes it's hard to, or not hard. It's sometimes easy to kind of lose your composure, and you kind of do dumb things sometimes, or you say the wrong thing, maybe out loud. But it's that's just because you love what you do, and you still have that drive and fire uh, to be better. If you're just if you're out there sucking and you're content with that, well, that's not me. I'm not like that. I'm not built like that. Never have been, never will be. But if there's something to improve on, or if I feel like it's myself, then I kind of use that fire to kind of get your head right, get back in the game, go out there and make it happen.
Yeah, I and respect, man. Huge respect for that. And that is a big part of it, and people don't take into account the mental game in a lot of cases. And I've been in the situation when we were stock car racing way back, when dinosaurs were still on the planet. Um, dude, I we were in a class where we were a ninth place car, and we were a
Right.
50 car class. We always made the aim aim, but we were a ninth place car. And so it was like that, knowing that I might be lucky to pull a fourth or fifth, um, just sucked all
Yeah.
year. And as a crew chief, I mean, I was tinkering with anything and everything and trying to keep the driver hyped up and look, yeah, you finished fifth. Great job.
Right.
Um, but it's like, you know, it was a sucky season. And
I
so I,
I think
I
it all
feel
goes
you.
back to where your goals are at, right? Like
Right.
if your goal is to be a sixth place car, and then you get a six, and then you're pumped to be that. But if your goal is to win, or your expectations, I should say, if your expectation or goal is to win, then a second and third just doesn't do it. And I feel like that's kind of how I was the past couple of years. I feel like I was that second, third, fourth, fifth, second, third, and it kind of gets old, and because it might be KP that wins, and I'll be second or third, or it might be Brees that wins, and I'll be second or third. I'm like, man, I just can't seem to get that just overall win, or that main win. And I'm like, what is it gonna take? But you got to keep chipping away at it, and take the small wins, and still got to be thankful and proud and happy with a second and third, because there's a lot of people that would love to be in that position for a second or third, and sometimes you get blinded by it, and you don't kind of see how thankful and grateful that you should be for that second and third, and
Yep.
yeah, podiums ain't gonna last forever, so even a second and
Preach.
third, you gotta definitely enjoy them, and live in the moment while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a very valid point. I mean, when you look at it, if you're if you're on the podium at any given night on any given race, um, especially at the Kicker Arena Cross Series, there's at least 30 other riders that aren't on the podium.
Right. That
You
would love
know,
to be up there.
that would, yeah, that would put you in the wall to be up there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly.
Or at least 20, and probably 15 or 20 of them would.
Right.
Um, but I feel like you definitely dropped the hammer. You know, you put some people on notice in Reno, and I think that was I was cheering for you. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah,
I have my favorites, and I'm straight up. Everybody knows on this podcast, they've known for 99 episodes now that KP and KB are my dudes, right?
yeah,
So I mean, uh, I'll own
yeah,
it.
yeah. Hey, hey, gotta have your favorites no matter what. But no, I think hopefully we can keep that momentum, going into Boise, and then kind of I think around Loveland and stuff, you should we should definitely be. I feel like myself and definitely will be in a even a better position than Boise. But I know we're doing some work to the bike and testing some things, and we hope to be better in Boise. But I know by Loveland, we're definitely going to be ready to go. And like I said, we're happy to be there. And I have some goals. I have personal goals, and I got other things I want to check off. But I would love to get a win this year. I'm not even putting my eyes on a championship yet, because first things first is we got to learn how to win first, and then kind of go from there. But hopefully we can be in that fight, man. There's a lot of good guys this year. It's I feel like top 6, 7 guys could have a chance to win on their night. So
Yeah,
hopefully we can stay in that mix, and keep healthy and keep with that group, and yeah, just see how it shakes out. And like I'm saying, just keep doing it for everyone that support me. Everybody that got me out to Reno. Greg, Steve, Greg Electric, Ashley Mobile Electric. Ashley, he's bummed up on a with his knee tore up, and I know he would love to be there, but he's back at home supporting. My wife, my whole family helped me get out there. Um, Troy, my boss, had sent me out here late night to do a night cut, but we'll be out there at the track at 12 o'clock tomorrow, dialing in a new setup. So uh, it's not just
nice.
work for me; it's work from the whole crew. So we're ready, motivated to stay after it, and hopefully we can keep putting these good results in, and yeah, hopefully some comes of it.
Yeah, I feel like it's coming for sure from what I've seen, and honestly, the way last year started, I was really surprised it didn't come early. Um, after uh, after the concussion, I've had some major concussions, and so I'm like, you know, you probably not 100%,
Right.
even if you say you are. It's such a short season,
Yeah.
and everything's looped so close together. Um, you know, but man, you definitely made some foot stomps last year, and you came out this year. You look sporty, you look fast, um, and I know we need to let you go here and get signed off, um, but I want to go over because I am getting a 50-50 mix of love and hate about this the kicker clash for cash.
Yeah.
Um, so e-bikes, I'm getting a lot of hate from friends about the e-bike class. And you know what? I believe there's a place for the e-bikes.
Right.
And I don't hate that they've brought them into the Kicker Arena Cross series because it just adds one more facet to for
Right.
me. It's
Right.
one more thing of entertainment, one more thing for the
Right.
fans to go, oh wow. So
I think it could have its own spot, and the bikes are cool. They're different. You know, they're not for everybody. They have some cool things about them. Man, they are so fast. And I think it's cool that it's bringing a different group of riders, some big names like Josh Hill, Bogle. I mean,
Yeah.
those guys are badass on a dirt bike. I mean, and they're coming over here to Arenacross, racing our series, checking this stuff out. It's going to get more eyeballs, maybe some different viewers that would like that stuff. And like I said, it's not for everybody. You know, I don't think anytime soon it's going to take over a gas powered bike anytime soon. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it yet, and I think they could have a spot for their own type of stuff, but I just don't see it taking over. And but I'm just glad that they're bringing some more eyeballs to our series, and you know, us being able to race with them. You know, it kind of sucks that I was on the bad end of the stick there in the kicker clash, but you know, I led 8 laps of it and just ended up way off the podium after getting taken down, but is what it is. You know, maybe I could have hurt him if he was on a gas bike, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's for entertainment. That's the whole reason we're there, racing in front of a crowd. We're entertainment, man. And maybe next time I got to be smarter and look over and make sure I got nobody beside me.
Well, yeah, you spend so much time teaching yourself not to shoulder check, right?
Right.
Not just hit your lines, hit your marks.
Yeah.
And then, you know, usually you've always got that in the back of your mind. If you hear another bike, even the hint of another bike, maybe you look back, right? But you can't hear
Absolutely.
these. Um, and that's what I was going to ask about because, man, you whole shot the Clash and we're schooling them. And basically, what was it, last lap or 2 laps to go, going
Yeah.
to the
Last
white
lap.
flag? Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, he just almost kamikaze cornered it,
Yeah.
you know, and it was a racing deal. It
Right.
wasn't clean, but I wouldn't consider it. It wasn't a flat out T-bone,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, but it was enough to shake you off the line. I know that probably pissed
Yeah.
you off, and I I would, if I'm him, I would hope you're not behind me in the next clash.
Yeah.
Because you know it'd take a he might be taking a wide line when you come up behind him, but
Yeah. Now,
that go ahead.
I said, hopefully the 450's still got enough torque to maybe push him around a little bit more. But no, it kind of hurt because I was hoping to be able to buy some more diapers with that $2,000 kicker clash money. You know,
Right? Yeah, and
it's all good though.
that's a whole new thing. But I will tell you, on the other side of it, man, the video of the last lap has broke the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't go through my reels on Instagram without seeing it somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's that being said, I'm a gas bike fan, so I was really hoping for the fossil fuel machines to go 1-1 and both to go 1-1 for the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, but it was damn exciting,
Yeah.
and it was great to see you out front there and lead so many laps in the other mains and
Yep.
heats. And dude, I think you got you got a good season started. And it's, as you know, attitude and momentum make a huge difference in how the whole
100%.
season's going to go. So uh, I think you're doing a great job. I look forward to seeing you in Boise.
Yes, sir.
And I know you got work to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we need to sign off before I run too much on time and Cole yells at me. So, um, Kyle, sponsors, hit them up.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, Greg Electric, those guys are awesome. They came on board last minute. Ashley Mo Electric, those guys been behind me. Ashley and his whole family been behind me forever. Suspension Solutions, Troy and Jake, kind of trying to keep me happy left and right. You know, I'm always dialing, trying to figure out bike, trying to figure out something better. A1 Communications, FXR, Chuck Shirley at Privateer Connections, Guts Racing, Twin Air, Works Connection, Primetime Designs came on this year with our graphics. Man, Acherbys, Mika Metals, my dad, my wife, um, man, just everybody supports me. The Last Impression crew, those guys, they've been big supporters the past few years, and they're still helping out. I love that family, the Thompson family.
They're
Just
awesome.
everybody, yeah, man, just everybody that helps me, dude. I can't thank you guys enough. The Metco group that's been behind me for the past few years, you know, they're still doing what they can to help me out. And man, I always have a bunch of group of guys that, you know, just help me out because of the love of the sport, and it means a lot. You know, nobody has to give you anything, and for somebody to go out of their own way to help you get to the next round or go racing, help out with hotels, food, parts, it all helps, man. And I'm thankful for the support and very grateful for it. And yeah, just glad that I'm still able to make them proud on the race weekends.
Yeah, that's rad. And yeah, extra special shout out to Ashley. Man, we just praying for you every day
Yes,
for
sir.
speedy healing and full recovery. And man, we miss you at the racetrack. I'm telling you that. So
And also a big shout out to the Phoenix Racing Honda crew, man. They're David Eller and Heath Racing, or Heath Harrison. They're hauling my bike around to all the rounds this year. So without those guys, man, I wouldn't even be there. And I'm the competition to them. So for those guys to go out of their way to help me out just means a lot, and it just shows what like how the racing community is and how willing people are to go to support you. So it's very very awesome.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of great people, you know, we're talking about the Thompsons and the Toskis and David Eller, man. What a
Yes,
great
sir.
guy. You know,
Dude,
what a great
absolutely.
advocate for the sport too.
All
So
because they all just love dirt bike racing, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome. So all right. Well, you got any parting statements? Got anything final you want to say?
No, man, that's just thank you for having me. Sorry that it was you know, I had to be driving to work while doing this. Maybe we can get on another one and do it in a little better fashion. But like I said, thanks for having me, and yeah, hope to be on again soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you on again, buddy, and keep the rubber side down. I
That's
will
it.
see you in a couple weeks in Boise. I hope,
Boise.
yeah, I hope you and your family have a blessed Thanksgiving. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. See ya.
You bet. See you, Kyle.
See ya.
Man, that's good stuff. Good stuff. I know I'm sad that Cole couldn't be here. He was on a meeting because I know he probably had 10,000 questions more about the bikes and the setup and hopefully next time we have him on, we'll have Cole on here with us. And with that, you know, I just want to thank all our loyal listeners. We are continuing to grow greatly. Um, and thank our great partners and sponsors, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, on Facebook, Kicker, and every other Tuesday night live at 7:30 Central for their TV show, Kicker Unmasked Live, on Facebook and their YouTube channel. And Tommy and his gang over at Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber incredibly beautiful, wonderful eyewear. Man, check them out. BomberEyewear.com. Over 40 styles of frames. I don't even know how many styles of lenses. You can get them in polarized. You can get them in mirrored. You can get them in ANSI 87 OSHA approved safety lenses. Uh, whatever you need, find them online. bombereyewear.com or on Instagram at bombereyewear. And remember, when you've picked out your new to be favorite pair and you're about ready to check out of the shopping cart at bombereyewear.com, enter that promo code MADDOG20, MAddOG20. Help you out a little bit and let them know you listen to MAddOG'S After Show. Of course, Cole, I don't know where I'd be without him on this podcast. Here we are, 99 episodes in, and man, he's still putting up with me after 2.5 years, and we're still planning future. We're still growing, and of course, Cole has the Premix podcast. You can find him on Instagram, the at symbol ThePremixPodcast, where you can get him booked to take some pictures of your desert race vehicle, find out his racing schedule, where he's going to be at, shooting photos, or get him booked for your announcer or MC needs for your event, bar mitzvah, wedding, divorce, uh, burial at sea, whatever you need. Cole's got you covered. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film, taking care of all of our video audio production needs. And man, if you need any video production, pre-production, through production to post-production, whatever you need, you hit her up on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. You want to see what she does? She turns our mess into beauty over on our Mad Dog channel at YouTube, Mad Dog Media. We're so grateful for all the help. Of course, all our social media templates, logo work is the incredibly talented work of Hey Keeks over at Hey Keeks Marketing. Find her online, heykeeks.com, and on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Cole, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Always there when I need him. Dude, you are the bomb. Thank you so much.
They call me La Bamba. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know you were
That's
there.
great. I mean, anybody who runs a PW50 to start out their life is a friend of mine.
Right? I knew it. With that, Cole, you got anything parting comments real quick?
Oh man. Parting comments. Baja 1000 is over. Trials and tribulations. Glad most everybody was safe. LACR, keep them in your thoughts and prayers because Californian insurance companies are trying to not re-up them, and we could potentially lose our fourth track in 2 years.
Ugh.
So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And other than that, 99 was my first number on my PW50. So what an exciting episode.
It was meant to be.
Meant to be.
I love it. Dude, thank you so much for everything you do. I appreciate and love you so much, brother.
Appreciate you. Love you.
With that, God bless our troops. God bless our first responders. God bless our veterans. God bless you, our fans. God bless America. Mad Dog out.